know from other stories, the main theme of the Bacchae is repeated in many myths about Dionysus.
Classics department is the department that's responsible for the study of Greek and Roman antiquity. So our students study Greek and Latin languages.
This is compound. We have this and this. This becomes what?
Literature, culture, art, history.
There's ancient politics, ancient religion, there's ancient literature, poetry.
You have the opportunity to study ancient law, philosophy. You learn the roots of Western culture and to some extent Eastern culture.
I hope that you all think of yourselves as an Alexander historian in the making. So there's almost no field of contemporary research that is not in some way represented in classical studies.
The third type are the ones who are dangerous and warlike.
It's not just what's going on in the moment or in the last 20 or 30 years, but how the problems they're facing, the issues they're concerned with, resonate with the deep history of humanity.
The present has an infinitive.
I myself am taking both Greek and Latin. I'm second semester for both those languages. It's really, really cool to see the development of the language over time, looking at different authors that existed, hundreds of years apart.
After just 2 semesters, you are ready to begin reading the very words of Plato, the very words of Aristotle and of the historian Herodotus.
I appreciate the opportunity, especially having studied the foreign language, to really get in depth into documents, figures that have emerged and as a result influenced the way that our society still shapes itself.
He starts talking about Zeus right away, even though Zeus isn't born until much later.
From reading medical documents from Hippocrates to Galen, I know that when I actually get into practice, I'll look back on those and remember that those are the foundations to what I'm studying today.
I've had to develop sharp critical thinking skills. So as someone interested in pursuing law in the future, I think I can take that skill and use it to judge situations and courses of action for our modern society.
You remember in the Socrates workshops when you took on a character?
As I see it, the ancient world was really full of ample opportunity for improvisational and imaginative activities. What I try to do in my classes is work with students to engage in what the ancients called the art of living and participating in the spectacle of antiquity.
Learning how to present yourself in an academic environment is actually part of what you learn as a classics major.
The classics department has these afternoon teas on Monday, and all the classics students and professors and grad students, everybody will kind of get together and have a cup of tea.
Your level of discourse gets elevated very quickly when you're bouncing ideas around with professors and graduate students and you're, say, a freshman in college.
The idea of the book club is really to get students to move a little beyond the confines of the classroom, to develop some habits of reading and thinking and observing outside the classroom and sharing these outside works as a kind of touchstone for conversation. The university is very much connected to the city of Los Angeles. And as a result, our students have the opportunity to connect with some really wonderful cultural opportunities.
There's also opportunities to travel, to do a junior year abroad in Rome, or junior year or summer abroad in Athens, where you would get to study the classics on site.
Classics majors go on to do all kinds of unexpected things.
I started college as undecided, thinking that I might do something related to games. But I felt games could be so much more enhanced by a major unrelated to the actual game design. And then I decided classics. I think the storytelling and the way you learn about myth and just the culture of a different time period, the way we looked at it, was really interesting in comparing to games, because games are just stories. It's really nice to be able to use the content of my classics courses in my games courses, and I tried to make little game design documents about ancient Greek heroes going through a story, and it's kind of, I always called it the God of War major-minor combination.
Classics is a window to explore, learn, investigate people, ideas, times, places that really excite you and will spark your imagination and your creativity for the rest of your life.